I am both Irish and Italian, so I was raised Catholic, obviously. But we were never like super duper Catholic. My dad definitely was more as like a child, because like, his dad was kind of thing. And so it's really funny because he knows all the Catholic loopholes. Yeah. If you tell a real Catholic this, they're like, what are you talking about? But my dad's like, certain things like while the priest is saying a prayer, he's like, if you say X, like you get 7 years off purgatory. I often find that I always like pray to God whenever I'm like angry at him. And I think that's frowned upon. But but sometimes it's like when like things are going to like hell, you're like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know, it could just be me talking to myself too, but like it feels less weird if I putting it in a prayer form.
A lot of my spirituality centers around cooking. It's all at once my meditation and my communal gathering. It's a way for me to center myself and refocus and like have something kinesthetic to do. Mostly I'm just like there with my thoughts and I'm there, really listening to myself. And so that aspect about it feels very meditative to me. But I also like that it can be both individual and communal, and that it's sort of my decision which one it is. My family makes fun of me for it because sometimes I just want to cook for myself and I don't want to cook for them. My aunt actually came up with a cookbook title for me, Not Only for the Lonely, Vegetarian Meals for One. She was very proud of that. So I think food always has been an important sort of gathering place for me. And, my family always had communal dinners every school night. That was like one of the most important things growing up is like we would all be at dinner, we would all say grace, we would all stay until everyone finished. And, it's where we would play high-low and like talk about our days and sort of get to know each other. And I think that a lot can be discovered about a person over a meal, and that feels very spiritual to me too, because it's sort of like a meal is more than the sum of its parts, and it's more than the sum of the people who are there enjoying it. It's the act, and it's sitting down and making time. And I think religion is a lot about making time for something that's important to you. And in no way am I equating pasta with God, but I do really feel like I feel the most spiritual when I'm cooking or when I'm interacting with food.
I don't know, like I still like have this like little necklace with like a Buddha on it, and whenever there's like things that becomes difficult or like I feel like I can't handle it, I'm like, okay, dear, I don't know how to translate this, dear female Buddha, because the other Buddha is a male, I guess. Please help me get through this. And like it feels like if you kind of get stuck, there's always like this other person who, I do engineering. I know that, certain things exist and is proved exist and they don't. There's always this side of me that deny science. Not in like a very strong way, it's just like subconsciously there. So I'm like, okay, female Buddha, please help me get through this. And I just feel better. I know that it might be not really realistic, but it's just like a fun way to approach problems. And whenever my mom had like, it's really weird because she's like, okay, T, this next year you're gonna take the college, high school entrance exam. That's what we had to take. It's like several days of like doing exams and papers were the worst thing. How about like you go visit this temple and like maybe you'll like be feeling well in exam and like do your best. Like it's not like, oh, we wish that you can get in, but like, oh, we wish you can do your best. That's always her approach. It's like doesn't really do anything to the realistic things of life, but it's like a moral support, and it's always make us feel like safer, make us feel like more positive about life. I don't know how effective it is, but it's definitely like mentally is like a fallback shoulder for us. Yeah.
So growing up in a Colombian family, religion is huge. Even in the country, it's just huge. My grandmother, she would go bonkers if I didn't go to mass on like Sundays. Even now, when I call her, she's like, "Did you go to church?" When I was younger, I used to put up a fight. I hated having to go and just sit there for 2 hours and just like hear the priest talking about God knows what. I don't know. But now it's soothing. It's relaxing. It's different. It's a place where I can like think about everything and just put everything into perspective. So yeah, it is huge. And I mean, the same things that I learned that my grandmother passed on to me or that my mother passed on to me, I will definitely do it when and if I have kids. I love Christmas because we have some traditions where they're called novenas. What we do is we get the whole family together and then we pray, but it's like singing in a way because we have this like specific song that we sing, and we get all the kids have like all these instruments, they play, and then after that we make some arroz con leche, which is just like something to remind us of home. And at the beginning of December, we have something called El Día de las Velitas, which is like we light candles with our family, and we don't do it just to light a candle, but to like hope something for the new year and to get prepared and to like thank and to thank them, or maybe you light a candle for certain someone that maybe passed away and you miss, or you light a candle because you're hoping something will happen, or you're lighting a candle to thank God for whatever that has happened in your life that has been like very memorable. So those things I will definitely keep doing them because I love them. So we're trying to get my sisters like to know about them. So now we love that for Christmas. Now they ask, they're like, "Hey mom, are we gonna do the novenas?" And we're just like, "Yes, we are, definitely."
My grandparents on my dad's side, especially my grandma, she was very, very, very Buddhist. And my dad, he's not Buddhist per se, but there are a lot of like small superstitions, like when you cross the railroad, like you lift your legs or something, or there are very, very small superstitions in Korea especially, that I grew up with. And I feel like even if I want to start moving away from them, I feel like it's just embedded so deeply into me. Especially like there's one that's like, don't like shake your legs, or like all the luck is gonna like run away or something, or like don't whistle at night because like the snakes are gonna come to you, or it's just very small things that like every time I do those actions, I like think about what my parents used to say, and it's just, I just have a little laugh. And I've just been thinking about like God and like, or gods, and how that could play a role in like me shaping the world. And I feel like if there really is a higher power, then he or she is like would want people to shape the world that they made into a better place. So that's just like, it's just influenced me to like look at the world through a more positive outlook, I guess. Because of that, I feel like I've been living life with more goal and ambition. I'm really interested in social psychology and racial stereotypes. I really want to work in a broadcasting network and sort of make sure that they don't project these inequalities, and so that like children view the world more in a more positive outlook, I guess. Instead of like, what can I do to help people, like as a doctor or something, I just want to make a change. And I feel like until I make that change, I won't be happy with my life. Yeah.
I think the thing I struggled with the most growing up was not having a ton of Jewish youth my age. My family is originally from the East Coast, where there are really big, thriving Jewish communities. And Iowa City definitely had a Jewish community, but I never really had any friends that were Jewish and my peers. We have family calls every Friday where we all log on to Google Hangouts and do the Friday blessings. And so it's just kind of a really big token of our relationships within my family. I definitely was the spokesperson for all of Judaism, for all of my friends, I think, but it really didn't feel like a burden because I think Judaism is a really big part of my life. I love talking about it so much that I was just excited to kind of share my culture and my family's experience with them. Growing up, no one would say, oh, if you don't want to answer, you don't have to, but I'm wondering what's Passover all about? Nobody would kind of say that. They would just be like, Molly, like, why aren't you eating bread? You know, like, what's going on here? But in college was kind of the first time where there was a type of awareness of asking someone to explain their culture, of kind of that being hard on them. And I thought that was kind of interesting, for better, for worse. I don't know, people at Tufts would often say, you know, like, if it's too much to kind of explain this, don't worry. But I was always like, whatever, like, I love talking about Judaism, so, yeah.
In high school, I was in a youth group with like a much more loose brand of Christianity, per se, with a lot of people who were very, very committed to it and just like were ready to like blindly follow it to the ends of the earth, and kind of still are, which is cool, I guess. Like some of my best friends are like going to like evangelical covenant colleges right now, and it's cool to like be so close with people that are very different than me, but it was also just like hard. And I think in high school I like came to terms with like that's not a community that like I will ever like be able to like accept fully or like recognize fully. And it's just like definitely been like a constant like back and forth. I don't know, I haven't like given thought to like putting like a religious identity on myself. But I go to churches when I am stressed out, and like mostly just sit, don't usually do anything. So psychoanalyze that for me if you can. But that like that's the role that religion plays for the most part, is it's like a space that like has this weird dissonance where I'm comfortable and I feel like secure, because like I think that it's like I feel connected to it in some way, but like I don't like it, so I don't know.
So my parents are very traditional Irish Catholic, conservative. I am very not that. I mean, I'm still Irish, I guess, but other than that, I grew up a very devout Catholic. Then in middle school, one of my friends was an atheist, and I was like, what? That's weird. What? I don't understand. What? I had always just kind of assumed that there was a God, and that God was exactly what the Catholic Church said that God was. It had never really crossed my mind that could maybe not be true. And then when I started to think about it more and more, I realized that if I was going to hold this very like cosmological belief, I should have stronger reasons for it than that. I searched out various like atheist YouTubers, and I looked up like debates about like for and against the existence of a God and things like that. And what I continually found was that basically the people who believed in God either tried to make like logical arguments that just didn't work, or they believed based on faith, which is fair and valid, but not a thing that I thought was enough, you know? I would keep like searching out a new like a new argument for why there was probably a God, and then that would fall apart, and then another one, and then another one. And then I was an atheist.
End story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I consider myself agnostic, so don't really think much about religion, but at the same time, like, I feel like any kind of introspection is like, in some ways getting in touch with spirituality, and I just try to keep open to experiences that are like reaching religious, just because I feel like it doesn't have to be that distinct, like the line between non-religious and religious, and then like different faiths, different beliefs. I like the idea that all religions are kind of seeking the same sort of comfort in different ways. So I try to stay positive with that idea, as opposed to like the divisiveness that it's caused in like a lot of cultures and just the world. Yeah.
I will have to take some time to heal these wounds I have inside. Thankful I have you by my side. I don't need no money, I don't need no fame. I just want somebody to understand.